We are going to take a second, though, and pause on the phone calls and just pay honor to our friend Rush Limbaugh, who passed away this morning. And there are very few people in this world that create an entire industry. Elvis, the king of rock and roll. Even the Beatles followed Elvis, And Rush created talk radio as we know it. There were a few people doing it, odds and ends here or there. But the first person to do of scale, for sure. And in the process of those number of decades, becomes an American icon. And very interesting guy. I got to spend a little time with him a few times, and obviously I was a little bit starstruck. And so whether you agreed with his politics or not, for God's sake, some of you out there have some class today. It's hard for some of you, but you ought to have a little class. I mean, if someone you completely disagree with and you hate their message passes away, and you can't, Mama used to say, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. So
that's right.
There's a good plan for some of you. Just shut up. But anyway, Rush created an industry. I mean, he and some of the guys that were working with him in the early days took AM radio, and it was on life support, and brought it back to life. To the point that AM radio stations, which were, prior to that, almost didn't exist in the ratings books, became the number one rated show or station in many, many cities. On AM talk, AM talk radio did that.
Wow.
And it was him that blazed a trail. And he blazed a trail because there's so many people that came along after him that wanted to be him.
That's right.
There's so many Rush wannabes on the air out there, or people that just stepped into the same space with their own thumbprint. But some of them not very original, some of them very original, and a lot of them are friends. Here's what it takes to do what he did. You have to have an unbelievable intellect, which he did. His critical thinking skills are unbelievable, and his sense of humor. The one thing he does that so many don't do when he's discussing stuff is not only to make fun of himself, but made fun of himself, but he's just dadgum funny. Was, and it's just it's hard to think about past tense. Get my grammar correct here, but his ability to deliver that, and his ability to deliver thought-provoking things. And for those of us that are consider ourselves conservatives, he put words to things we were already thinking and feeling. And it really wasn't like what he was saying was new.
Right.
Just like me,
right.
And you, Chris. We don't say anything new. Get out of debt. Your grandmother said that.
That's right.
It's nothing new, but we've just done it with a panache and in a way and with enough volume that it's touched millions of lives, and certainly he did. And so, iconic guy. Behind the scenes, an introvert.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you would think as loud and gregarious as he was on the air that he would be that way in a cocktail party, and he would just as soon not be at a cocktail party. Just as soon not be in a crowd. And a lot of the guys on radio are that way. A lot of gals and stuff, even on TV. They don't mind the camera, they don't mind the microphone, but a crowded room is not something they want to do. I'm unusual in that regard because I am actually an extrovert, but I'm louder in those situations than I am here.
Just a little bit. But
he, he set the standard, and those are shoes that won't be filled. There'll be a lot of attempts in the coming weeks for all of us in the business to try to figure out what to do now, because it leaves a gaping hole in talk radio, obviously. But no one will, people will come along and do their own version of whatever they need to do, I hope. I hope they don't try to just do Rush again, because that'll be a mistake.
Yeah, it would be.
And because it's impossible.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, he's definitely an icon, bombastic, had no fear of giving you his opinion. And like you said, critical thinking skills were unmatched.
Yeah.
Being able to look at both sides, but also tell you what he believed and his feeling. And so prayers go out to his family.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we've reached out to the team that's around him. We know all of those, and around his family and so forth, and all of that. But, it is an interesting thing to stand back and look at a person who's life was so epic that they literally created an industry. I mean, Henry Ford created the assembly line and thereby the automotive industry, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people say the car was invented before Henry Ford. Yeah, but no one did it like he did it. I mean, he took it to scale. There were other people making cars in their basements and other things, but you know, the mass production line, the ability to, you know, create a factory to make cars was, and you know, the Ford Model T became the thing.
The standard.
And everybody after that was, including Tesla, still trying to catch up. You know, and so that's what happens. And when you come in and an entire genre, an entire industry is created around a person's skill, a person's ability, and so forth. That's iconic. That's iconic. And we've certainly, the talk radio portions of the Ramsey Solutions business have certainly ridden on the coattails of that. Had I come out and said, I'm going to do a show on the radio and I'm going to take phone calls and I'm going to teach people how to get out of debt before the road had been paved by somebody like Rush, I would have been laughed out of the building. I was already laughed out of the building several times anyway, but I would have been really laughed out of the building. And yeah, mammoth impact, and really quality guy. Again, I didn't agree with everything he said, but I don't agree with anything anybody says. I don't agree with everything Hogan says. So
I don't know why you had to go there, but I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, no one. If you have critical thinking skills, you don't agree with. There's no one you agree with 100%.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I don't even agree with Jesus 100%. That means I'm wrong, and I got to learn something, right? But so you got to learn, and you know, but you know, if you can't respect the accomplishments, the impact, and the quality of that, then you're missing something.
Yeah.
Whether you agreed with him or not, or whether you agreed with his politics or not.
Well, I can tell you this on behalf of the family. I would encourage you, if your life was impacted by Rush in any way, write a letter. Send it to him. His family, it would blow them away to be able to read those stories and remember this man in their life.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace, my friend. Rest in peace.